With the Holocaust slowly becoming distant history, Lee Cowan tells us that one photographer is bearing witness to as many survivors' lives as she can, one picture at a time.
Gorgeous.
It was a photo shoot like few others.
You look amazing.
Those posing for the camera on this day in Miami aren't fashion models,
You're natural.
at least by trade,
Chin down a bit.
but they are models in their own way. Models of courage, fortitude, and grace, all formed in the crucible of the Holocaust.
It is something that we carry. It is something that cannot be washed off. No pills, no treatments, no psychology or psychiatry. I think I've done it all.
87-year-old Judy Rodan. She was hidden at a Catholic convent in Budapest until the end of the war.
All my immediate family were eliminated at Auschwitz.
88-year-old Miriam Klein-Kasanoff spent the war on the run from her home in what was then Czechoslovakia.
My father was grabbed by his elbows, and he was dragged out of our home on a Shabbat evening.
And 95-year-old David Schachter survived not one, but two extermination camps.
I felt that our children need to know.
There is indeed a need to know, but we're losing 8 to 10% of our eyewitnesses every year. Of the 200,000 or so left, it's estimated half of all Holocaust survivors will be gone in the next 5 to 7 years.
This one woman said, what's going to happen when I'm not here to tell my story? Who's going to tell my story? And say, this happened to me, please believe me. That's the entrance of Auschwitz.
Which is why photographer Gillian Laub has been taking photos of as many Holocaust survivors as she can. More than 300 portraits so far, and she's far from done.
God bless you. There's pride, there's strength and resilience, and there's also sadness. Some people get emotional, some people feel like, I am here, I am standing here, proud and strong.
We witnessed this moment.
Do you guys know each other?
With Miriam and another survivor, 89-year-old Stella Sonnenschein, met for the first time.
Thank you so much.
It's our mission. It's our mission.
It is our mission.
That's why we survived.
Fellow travelers on a road neither one of them wanted to be on.
My father was a rabbi, and he told me that when I grow up, I should tell the world.
So we have a job to do. We have
Yes.
to live a long time.
In 2024, some of Laub's portraits became larger than life when she projected them all over New York City, including on the Brooklyn Bridge, all in honor of International Holocaust Remembrance Day.
I'm really impressed. One woman went through all of this to keep the Holocaust alive.
There it is.
Laub didn't ask the city for permission, she just did it under the cover of darkness. A respectful and yet bold project she called Live to Tell.
It was really like a caper, a renegade guerrilla art project, and I had no idea what was going to happen.
What happened was more survivors started to come forward. And what drove many of them to Laub's camera, she says, were the events of October 7th, 2023.
I thought, my God, they're doing it again. They're killing the Jews.
I was reliving my goddamn past, and I couldn't shake it for several weeks.
When I see all this disaster and insanity around us, 8,000 miles away, but it's touching. It's unnerving.
Israel's response, aimed at eliminating Hamas, has leveled Gaza, displacing nearly 2 million people, which sparked protests here in the United States.
They never saw or experienced the anti-Semitism that's happening right now in their lives in America.
It comes at a time when awareness about the Holocaust itself is already dimming.
About a third of all Americans say that they've seen Holocaust denial or distortion on social media.
We met Greg Schneider at the Museum of Jewish Heritage in New York. He's the executive vice president of the Claims Conference, an organization still negotiating with Germany and Austria for reparations to Jewish survivors.
As survivors are unfortunately leaving us in the greatest of numbers, they're mostly concerned about their legacy. They were murdered simply because they were Jewish.
Last month, the Claims Conference released a survey on Holocaust awareness in 7 countries all across Europe and the United States.
We were shocked by some of the results.
For example, a large swath of those questioned thought the number of Jews killed in the Holocaust was 2 million or fewer, not the 6 million who were actually murdered. And nearly half of the Americans surveyed couldn't name a single German concentration camp or ghetto.
So they couldn't mention Auschwitz as an example. So
Almost
Auschwitz,
half.
half of Americans. So imagine what will be 20 years from now or 30 years from now when we don't have Holocaust survivors who can go into schools and tell their stories.
Even Laub herself says she's left the past in the past far more often than she should.
You know, when my grandfather used to talk about being beat up every day on his way to school for being a Jew, it didn't really sink into me, what that must have felt like. And I feel so guilty now.
You feel guilty because you didn't ask enough questions?
I didn't. I was too young.
Last month, Laub took her most recent Live to Tell portraits to Miami Beach, where David and Judy and Miriam all saw themselves as the towering figures they really are. All of them beaming through the night on the 80th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz.
I was looking and seeking wisdom. I found that light from all of the survivors who became part of this work.
The children of the Holocaust. They are all we have left, those who never had the luxury of a childhood. Gillian Laub has given hundreds of them perhaps one last chance to bear first-hand witness to a brutality the world should never see again.
And who knew that this would be our revenge to the hate and to Hitler and to anti-Semitism and the Nazis? As we say in Yiddish, wir seien da. We are here.
Od love the tikvatenu